Welcome to the Besties with Breasties podcast. I'm Beth Wilmus, author, speaker, and founder of a human investment organization, otherwise known as a nonprofit, called Faith Through Fire. Our mission is to reduce the fear and anxiety breast cancer patients feel and replace it with hope and a path toward thriving.
I'm Jess, a mom of two, former college soccer player, elementary PE teacher, and fitness enthusiast. I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer just before my 40th birthday.
And I'm Jamie, researcher, retired professional boxer, and breast cancer survivor who keeps life busy and joyful with a funny farm of animals, a loving family, and a big heart to serve others.
This podcast is about our experiences with breast cancer
And life after as young survivors and moms.
All right. Hey, Jess, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing peachy.
Good. Peachy.
Yeah, I'm doing good. So today we're going to talk about friendships, which I think of friendships the same way I think of cancer. There are my friendships that I had before cancer, and then there are my friendships that I had post-cancer, which are totally different things, obviously, right? And most of my post-cancer relationships are with other survivors.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask you. Is that why you just have different friends because of the people you've met as you've gone through breast cancer and then
I think it's all people from Faith Through Fire, like
Right.
post, you know. I didn't really make any friends in the treatment chair. Did you?
No, not at all. Well,
Yeah.
there was, when I was going through treatment, it was still COVID. So I couldn't even have a visitor. So it was very much
Yeah, you're on your own.
isolated. Yep. Which I actually didn't mind. I actually enjoyed that time.
You know what? You're the second person that went through during COVID that's told me that they liked it that way. And I found that intriguing. Although, I wasn't super into chatting people up when I went through either. You know, most of the people that I was surrounded by in treatment were way older than I was. I felt like a fish out of water. I didn't have a lot of young survivors. I remember one time when I went to chemo and there was another young mom there and I was just so excited. Not for her, but
Right.
It's like, I don't want you to be here, but I was just like so unusual for me to have somebody my own age in the chair next to me. Did you have anybody young near you?
Honestly, I was so focused on, and like in the zone that there was one lady that I met that had a wig that I liked with a hat. Mm-hmm. And she was probably the only person that I met and she was younger, but I didn't really meet anybody. We were kind of like spread out, but I was just so focused on, okay, what do I need to do? Like I was like real big into like this meditation and this visualization. And then I just relaxed and read and watched movies. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't really form friendships in the chair. Yeah.
I do think that it's weird how it can kind of become a self-care ritual to go to chemo. Like you're putting this super toxic drug into your body that makes you feel terrible. But at the same time, the routine of it kind of soothed me in a certain weird way. So
yeah.
I kind of veered off track. We're talking about friendships today, but you know how it goes once you start chatting. So first, we're going to talk about why some friendships shift or end.
Then we're going to talk about the Midwest nice factor.
And then finally, maybe grieving and reframing friendship loss, if that's something that you've dealt with. But before we jump in, let's hear from our first sponsor. Are you feeling scared, overwhelmed, or lost post-treatment? Do you want to reclaim your life and thrive even better than before breast cancer? Faith Through Fire's Survivorship Bootcamp is designed for breast cancer survivors who are committed to living their fullest lives. If you're ready to leap forward, seize personal growth, and redefine your journey, this bootcamp will provide the path. You might benefit from our bootcamp if the excitement of completing treatment has worn off, leaving you feeling unsure about your future. You feel confused by your new post-cancer identity and struggle to accept your new normal. You want to enjoy life again, but feel stuck in a cycle of negative emotions. You feel disconnected from yourself, others, or God. Our bootcamp offers a structured roadmap that delves deep into 4 key areas crucial for post-cancer recovery and thriving: understanding trauma, cultivating a fighting spirit, managing anxiety and intrusive thoughts, and redefining and reshaping your identity so you can rediscover your joy and purpose in life. You can participate by visiting faiththroughfire.org/survivorship-bootcamp. Okay, so we're back. Let's talk about why some friendships shift or end. I mean, cancer changes everything. And why do you think, I mean, I don't know what your friends were like during cancer. How were your friends and how were your friendships when you went through cancer? Like, did you feel like it was just the same as always, or did you feel like there was a shift there because now you were going through something that they couldn't understand?
I felt like my friends were very supportive. I didn't really notice anything like shifting from other people towards me. It was more me towards other people, and maybe not even like close friends, but maybe like acquaintances. And I think that that shift happened because, like for me, because I just noticed the energy and like the complaining or like people being negative. And I was like, ooh, I just don't want to be around that right now. I just want to stay like in a positive environment. And so I do think friendships change. And I think for me, it was more just maybe putting like a distance between me and just some people, just so I wasn't around their negativity.
So you noticed like personality traits that maybe you wouldn't have noticed before because you were so hyper focused on keeping a positive mindset. That's interesting.
I mean, for me, it was, I've always been a people pleaser and I've always put other people's needs above my own. And so going through cancer, I think made me like really think about that. And I was like, well, why don't I prioritize myself a little bit more? Mm-hmm. And, you know, it just makes you kind of reevaluate everything.
Yeah. I think for me, I just noticed it was more insightful for me to realize that a lot of my friendships were kind of based on surface level fun or shared hobbies, but not necessarily deep enough to handle like cancer.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because I've always been kind of that person that's like, you know, we're going to get into the Midwest nice culture, but it's like, you know, you put your big girl pants on and you kind of carry on. And I come from an area where everybody kind of minds their own business and just handles their business. And we don't dig too deep into other people's like traumatic experiences because it's like, I think there's a few different reasons for that. I think one, they're, you know, not sure what to say. They're worried about saying the wrong thing and it's uncomfortable for them, you know, because I just think that there's a lot of intimacy. You know, it's like childbirth. Like cancer is like so intimate and so traumatic that I just think it takes a friendship to another level. And if you don't have those kind of deep bonds to handle something like that, I think it's going to be, for me, it was surprising to see like a lot of my friendships to realize that they were really they were fun and I loved them to death, but they were more superficial and less deep. I don't know if you had any of that.
Yeah, I've never really thought about it like that or like in that perspective, but I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, we have friends for, you know, different reasons and different seasons. And
like, did you ever tell a friend, like, I'm just having a horrible day and I just feel terrible and like cry to them? I never would do that. Like in a million years, would I ever do that?
No, I'm the same way.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, a lot of days I didn't really feel that bad, but I was always just kind of tired. But there definitely were times where I didn't feel good. But I just felt like, you know, get it together, Jessica. Nobody wants to kind of hear you complain. But
that's what my husband always says. My husband's like, I don't know what happened. I can't remember. But I said, oh, did you tell your friends? And he's like, they don't care. He's like, they don't want to hear me, you know, he's like, why would I bring that up? And I said, I don't know. It's kind of a big deal to you. Like it upset you. I'm just curious why you didn't share that with them. And he's like, what are they going to do about it? You know, he's like, nobody wants to hear other people complain. I just think it's interesting. And I really attribute that to like that Midwest nice culture, which you know, like the whole, we don't air our dirty laundry type culture, which is totally how I, you know, was raised.
Yes.
Like my parents thought it was like being incredibly disloyal if you ever shared something that you were going through with your family or, you know what I mean, that was upsetting to you. It did not happen.
I know. I kind of feel like I was raised that way also, and just having respect for your parents and not, you know, saying anything negative. And I think that did really change for me though. Not like the respect factor, but just the being vulnerable aspect, letting people come in and like really telling them like how I was feeling or just like letting people be helpful, because that really made, I think, the friendships stronger because I let them in. If I would have just kind of shut people out, then they might not have been as supportive and helpful.
Yeah. Did you ever feel like, oh, this person's definitely going to be there for me, and then they weren't, and vice versa? Like, was there somebody unexpected who stepped into your story that you didn't expect? Because I find that almost happens in every single survivor story. There's always somebody that they're disappointed in, and then there's always somebody that they're thrilled with that they would have never guessed would kind of insert themselves into the situation.
Yeah, I think that by the time I got to breast cancer, I feel like I had kind of gotten through all of that, just because what I'm trying to say is I've had 3 people in my immediate family that have passed away. And so I feel like it's kind of similar. Like when I was going through those, I feel like people kind of really show you their true colors. And it's the same thing with breast cancer. But by the time I got to going through breast cancer, I feel like I had kind of worked through those other friendships and like thoughts. Because I definitely think when you're going through something really hard, people show you who they really are. And it is kind of eye-opening, and it is kind of disappointing when you think somebody's going to be there for you and then they're not. And it does kind of make you question, I think, yourself. But really, I think we need to kind of flip it, and maybe it's an issue that the other person has also. Do you know what I'm saying? And dealing with whatever it is that you're going through. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Oh, no, it totally does. I think some people, it's really interesting. I once brought this up to somebody about, kind of more superficial friendships versus something deeper where somebody can really support you in something hard. And sometimes survivors will take it really personally. Like, I thought we were really good friends, and then where were you? But this person, and I can't remember if they had a therapy background or not, but they said it's really not about you. It's really about the other person being emotionally immature, which I thought was really interesting. It's like I'm sitting there internalizing this, thinking, gosh, I thought we were better friends than this. But really, it's about the other person's inability to really kind of enter into somebody else's grief and really like be there for them in a meaningful way. And it's really more about their emotional immaturity. And I thought that was kind of a fascinating, like you said, flip the script, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know that there was anybody in particular where I was just like, oh my gosh, they totally weren't there for me. It wasn't like that. It was just more maybe more realizing that a lot of the people that we had dealt with in the past were emotionally immature and not capable of really feeling comfortable, right, in the uncomfortable. Because I get it. Like, unless you've been through it, it is hard to know how to deal with somebody who's, encountered tragedy.
Right.
That's not even related to cancer. I mean, we've all been in that situation where we've encountered somebody that's gone through something really terrible or difficult. And it can be awkward. You don't know what to say. You don't want to upset them. You're not sure if you bring it up or if you ignore it. And so I totally get it. And that's kind of where my husband and I landed with it was, you know what? People do the best they can. And a lot of them just don't know any better because they haven't been through it themselves. And it definitely made me more compassionate going through that. I thought, oh my gosh, anytime somebody goes through something hard now, I'm going to have a level of empathy that I wouldn't have had, had I not gone through cancer myself.
Yes, I completely agree. I mean, you just don't know what it's like to go through whatever hard thing it is until you've been through something similar or a similar situation, or you've kind of been like the caregiver for somebody that has gone through the similar situation. So, I mean, and that's great for the people that don't know, that's great because they haven't had to experience that. But it is hard because I feel like I've heard people say they like expect this level of compassion and empathy. And then when people are unable to give it to you when you're expecting it, it is hard. But we just have to, I think, like we've been talking about, flip it and just say, well, they don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Gary and I had that moment. We had a friend from college and they didn't live near us. They were in a different state. But we heard through the grapevine that his wife was diagnosed with cancer. And this was before I had been diagnosed. And so Gary would routinely call him and just see how things are going and check in. And you know how guys are. You want to talk about not going very deep. Like guys are just like, hey man, how's it going? Anything we can do? How's your wife? And then, that's their way of like the pat on the back. And he would do that, but after I got cancer, we both questioned, did we do enough? Should we have done more? Like we should have probably done more. And yeah, to your point, you just don't know until you go through it yourself. So I always try to I don't want to minimize people's feelings when they're hurt because somebody wasn't there for them the way they anticipated. At the same time, I'm kind of always reluctant to kind of tell people to chuck the friendship completely if it's just, they don't know, and so it's just.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's important to think about like friends being kind of flexible and if somebody can't be there for you, it doesn't mean that they don't necessarily want to be your friend. It's just they are maybe struggling with how to help. And if you don't also let them help, and I think that was something that was really hard for me, was to reach out and ask for help. But once you can kind of maybe get over yourself a little bit, like for me, it was like, okay, get over yourself, Jessica, and you need some help, or you need a friend, or you just need to laugh. And once you then ask and then they can give you what you want, then that would maybe be another way to kind of see if the friendship is still there. I think sometimes we take things personal, and they're not really personal, but it's hard in the moment to not take it personal.
Yeah, I agree. So let's like talk about grieving and kind of reframing, although we've kind of already touched on that. But before we do that, do you want to do Boobs in the News?
Of course.
All right. Boobs in the News is a fun segment where we read funny tweets by real people or ridiculous news stories.
Boobs in the News, boobs in the news, boobs in the news.
I sent you a picture on your email.
I got it.
Did you get it? Okay.
I did.
Okay. I wanted you to have the visual. So it's Apple made a $230 crossbody sock.
Okay, that's $230.
$230. And if the people listening, if you saw this picture, it's literally like this person's wearing a sock around their body, and it's supposed to be for your iPhone, I believe. It's a knitted bag is what they're calling it, but it really does kind of look like a sock designed to snugly encase your iPhone. So instead of using like a purse or a pocket, I guess you're supposed to use this sock. And a shorter version is available in additional color options, including vivid orange, yellow, purple, pink, and turquoise for $149.95.
Wow.
And you can't wear it across your body, but you can hook it over your arm or tie it to a bag.
Oh.
And yeah, I know. It's like that makes all the difference. I'm in. Apple says that the 3D knitted design was inspired by a piece of cloth. Okay. Wow. And was born from the idea of creating an additional pocket that accommodates any iPhone and small everyday items. Oh my gosh.
I mean,
and it's ugly. Like it's ugly.
It is not the best, but it is kind of genius.
What?
Because how many times are you somewhere and you don't have any pockets, but you need your phone and you don't want to carry it in your hands because maybe you're doing things with your hands or you need to be like ready to go. And it is I can see that there's a place for it.
Okay, but why wouldn't you just wear a regular crossbody?
Well, what if you don't want a purse? Like, what if you?
But you could just put your phone in it.
But a purse or a crossbody is like bulkier.
I mean, it is bulkier, but I mean,
Yeah.
okay, let's just go straight to, let's ignore functionality because I feel like the athlete in you is trying to find a reason to make this okay. First of all, it's not even sporty. It's not even sporty looking. It's knit. It's knitted. It looks like something your grandma or your Aunt Ida would like knit for you, and you'd have to pretend to like it at Christmas. So it's not sporty.
Honestly, you could probably knit that if you're a knitter.
Yes. You know what? My admin person, Ashley, is a knitter, and I bet if I showed her this, she could have that done in like 1 minute.
I bet it wouldn't even take that long.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to knitting, so I would have to
the design director, and I can't pronounce his name, he says that the iPhone Pocket explores the concept of the joy of wearing iPhone in your own way. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that Apple did try to make a go of $29 iPod socks as a revolutionary new product back in 2004?
I did not.
Yeah. I think even Steve Jobs had mocked that.
Really?
So my thing is when you're selling phones for what does new Apple iPhones go for now? Like, I don't know, aren't they like $800,
Like,
$900?
Yeah, I was going to say 1,000. I don't know.
Okay, so if you're selling, I'm like so anti-Apple, it's not even funny. But if it's so like if you're buying a phone for $1,000, why are you wasting your time on crossbody? Do you know what I mean?
On a crossbody sock. You know what
Yeah.
would really make this even better is if it blocked EMF. Was it like
Oh, there you
EMF
go.
blocker?
See, you're going to functionality again. You and I are the exact same. I have to ask you this. This is a complete detour, but this is how my brain works. So you're utilitarian, like you're like me. It's like if it makes sense, if it's going to make my life easier, I'm going to embrace this. Would you? And I think I know the answer to this, but
Uh-oh.
how do you
I'm
feel?
nervous.
How do you feel as a mom about the minivan?
Oh, I don't like it.
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't, but I'm surprised by that because you are a utility person and I am pro minivan. I would
You
go
are?
Yes, I love a good minivan.
Really?
Yes, because my garage is very small. Now you have a 3-car garage, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't. I have a 2-car garage. And what happens when you have kids and you have cars that you want to keep in nice shape? They're constantly opening the doors into my garage. A minivan eliminates that with the sliding door. And it always
point.
has the individual bucket seats to where they can't touch each other.
No, those are both great points.
Yes. So
But I also feel like you have 3 kids. I have 2, so maybe that would change it.
yeah, I mean, I do think you have to take. My point being is that I am with you. If it makes sense and it's going to make my life easier, I'm all good. But obviously, your line is the minivan. That's not. It's not that important to you, Jess.
Nope.
Now they have SUVs that can kind of fit that same,
They do.
criteria.
Bucket seats.
Yeah, bucket seats. Like our Subaru is bucket seats, and it's worth every penny to have a Subaru and to
Really?
not to let the kids touch each other. But I
Yes.
digress. Let's get back to it. There's your boobs in the news.
Bibs in the news. Bibs in the news. Bibs in the news.
Okay, so I am curious, how many people do you talk to other survivors about their friendships or their relationships post-treatment? Like, what are your thoughts on how they feel? I feel like most people feel like their people really rallied around them.
I do agree with you. I do agree with you.
I don't think this is something, I think that typically there's usually, like I said, they can reflect on their journey and there might be one person that they were surprised or disappointed in. And then there was somebody who kind of popped in unexpectedly. So back to that question, was there somebody that you weren't particularly close to that really showed an interest in you once you got diagnosed?
Oh, yes. I mean, I felt like I was brought to tears so many times because of kindness of other people reaching out or sending a gift or mailing cards. So many people I feel like really stepped up. I really felt the love. I really did.
Yeah, I agree. I might have told this story on a previous podcast, but my husband at the time was working for a company and his, I don't want to botch this, but his boss's counterpart. So it wasn't my husband's direct boss. It was my husband's boss's direct counterpart. His wife had had breast cancer 20 years prior. And so Gary didn't even report to him, but he found out about me. And his wife, who didn't know me from Adam, sent me the most lovely letter in the mail, just basically saying, I know how scary this is and it's awful, but I'm 20 years out and living my best life and you can do this. And I can't even tell you, I mean, what that does for you when you're in that moment, to have somebody take the time to really encourage you like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it just lifts your spirit and it gives you hope,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we kind of talked about it. It's not really that people don't care. It's just that they don't have the emotional range yet to sit in hard things. Maybe that's because they've never experienced it, which, like you said, lucky them.
Right.
Or maybe they just don't know what to do. It's just awkward for them. They're not quite sure how to be there for you. But I think, when people will routinely ask me, should I do this for so-and-so or is that too much? And my answer to them is, I don't think you can care too much. Like, I've never heard somebody going through cancer be like, oh my gosh, so-and-so just keeps encouraging me. And,
Right.
And keeps popping up and asking how they can help me. I mean, I've just never heard that. Really encouraging people to replace like politeness with presence. You don't have to say the perfect thing, just show up.
Right.
Is really the best advice I can give to people. Show up in a meaningful way. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just remembering just to be nice. And I think that even just like sending a text.
Well, and here's my point too. Is like, okay, let's just say you look back at your journey and you're thinking, my friends weren't there for me the way that I had really envisioned. This is an opportunity, when you're post-cancer, you're going to have to rediscover yourself, right? That you're not going to be the same person. You're going to be a different person with different ideas and feelings and goals for the future now. That's just how it is. And so you can look at it as one of two ways, like, oh, okay, these people disappointed me, or I really understand now what I'm looking for in my relationships. And to your point about kind of cutting out the negative people, if they're not fitting your values anymore or your needs, it's perfectly acceptable to let those friendships fade.
Right.
We all have moments and seasons in our lives where friendships that we've had for a long time, it's just you're not in alignment with each other's values anymore. And that's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
So it could be a growth opportunity, I think.
Well, I completely agree with you. I think that especially going through breast cancer, it does make you kind of reevaluate your life and the people that are in it. And it is okay if, when you go through something like breast cancer, I think your priorities change also. And so if your friendships don't have the same priorities, then there is going to be a natural kind of fade. And it doesn't mean that you're not friends or you're enemies, but it's just you're maybe just not as close to some people as you have been in previous, seasons in life.
Yeah. I agree.
So I think it's just trying to remember to be kind of flexible. And, like with friendships, I think there's kind of three like strong pillars. There's this author that I just read her book over the summer. You guys might have heard of her, Mel Robbins, but she talks about how
she's kind of a big deal right now.
She is kind of a big deal, but she talks about how there's three pillars of friendship, and it's about proximity, like who are you around the most, like coworkers and people that you see on the daily basis. She talks about timing, like your chapters in life, and the energy that people bring to you and you bring to them. And I think you have to have a mutual respect for each other. And without that mutual respect, unfortunately, it's just probably not going to be as close of a friendship as maybe you once were.
Oh my gosh, that nails it on the head. Because you talked a little bit about energy, right? Like you want your friends to have a certain energy that you feel like match what you're going for. And then you're right, like the timing piece, but proximity, people underestimate proximity.
Yes.
How many times, I don't know if this is true for you, but I used to be in the sales world, and inevitably every time I would take a new sales job, my new best friends would be my coworkers. We all had similar personalities. We were all in that business for a reason. It was just so funny because I would instantly like bond with them and we would have the best time. But do you know what would happen inevitably if one of us moved on? We would stay in touch for a little while and then we would drift apart. And it wasn't that we didn't care about each other. We didn't like each other anymore. It's just the proximity factor.
Right. I mean, that has happened to me so many times, just in different circles. You're around people, you're close to them. I mean, Mel Robbins even talks about in her book that in order for like an adult friendship to move past the acquaintance, it's like 90 something hours that you have to be around somebody. So if you think about it, when you're around somebody for work, you're naturally, all of those hours count towards your friendship. So you're naturally going to go maybe a little bit deeper than somebody that you're not around as much.
Yeah, that is like so true. And it makes me wonder too, with some of these friendships that I had that I thought were kind of superficial, were they superficial or was it just because when I got breast cancer, I was in the throes of parenthood. My kids were 6'4" and 1 year old, and my friends were all in the same season. And we were not seeing each other or doing things with each other to the same extent that we were before we all had kids. You know, and so you really have to kind of evaluate. It's a really interesting point to make is evaluate, those three things, proximity, timing, and energy. Because if any of those things are off, it really could be easy to sit there and say they're just a bad friend, but it goes both ways.
Right. Definitely. Yeah.
So before we kind of finish up, let's hear from our second sponsor.
Thrivent is a proud sponsor of Faith Through Fire. Thrivent believes money is a tool, not a goal. The Gateway Financial Group with Thrivent is local to the St. Louis area and can work with you to create a financial strategy that reflects your priorities and helps you protect the things that matter to you, like family and giving back. Please call 314-783-4214 to schedule a free consultation with one of Thrivent's Gateway Financial Advisors.
All right, we're back. Any final words for those listening? This is all about relationships, right? So,
Yes. Friendships are they can be so fun. And I do think that sometimes we have to get out of our own head and maybe be the first person. And I know it's hard when you're going through something difficult, but maybe be the person to reach out and say, hey, I miss you. Let's go for a walk or meet up for a coffee. And I think that sometimes we also have to, that feels so good. Have you ever gotten a message from somebody that you haven't heard from in a while? And you're like, oh my goodness, so-and-so is they were thinking about me and they sent me this message. It goes a long way to be the bigger person and reach out and be friendly and be somebody that you want to be friends with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I think release the blame is kind of my messaging, right? It's not about who failed. It's just about who kind of grew in a different direction. Celebrate, the people that did show up and the people that surprised you in really beautiful ways. And stay open to new friendships. If you feel like your old group isn't serving you anymore, then just look at it as an opportunity for personal growth and to find the people that really are your people now. So
yes, I love that, because going through a hard time can really give you some of the best friends, that are in the future that you don't even know yet.
Right. Yeah.
I love that.
Keep yourself open, because that's where opportunities occur. All right, guys, until next time.
See ya.
Thank you for being a listener of the Besties with Breasties podcast. If this podcast had a positive impact on your journey, leave us a review or consider becoming a supporter. You can donate with the link in the show notes or at faiththroughfire.org.